A bushel is an imperial and U.S. customary unit of dry volume, equivalent in each of these. I just sort of combined these and those, and it was like dois. Doyoyoyois. In each of these systems to 4 pecks.
To what?
4 pecks, or 8 gallons.
What? Is that even... what's a peck?
A peck. 4 pecks, or 8 gallons. Now, I think that you can figure out what a peck is from that.
So, like... When Peter Piper picked a peck, he was actually picking a unit of measure.
He picked a peck of pickled peppers.
Right. Yeah, right. So I just...
Yeah, what did you think it was?
I figured that it was just kind of a thing. Like, I was like, he felt peckish, you know? So I figured a peck was, like, what you could eat. I don't know.
Could you eat 2 gallons of pickled peppers?
You know, I don't rightly know.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
So, did you like Curse of the Black Spot, Louis? Did you?
You know, I did.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Well, no, I knew that. Actually, I don't think I tweeted about it.
That's why.
Yeah. So I was keeping you in suspense.
Yeah, I did no suspense. I just tweeted right about it.
No, I saw that.
I twet.
You twet.
That's what I'm using that now as the past tense of tweet.
Of course. It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's much easier to say than tweeted.
Yeah, I twet about it.
Twet.
And yeah, I enjoyed it. I've heard a lot of negative reaction to it.
Really?
But I disagree with them.
See, I mean, I thought that it was really good, and I kind of liked the whole... I liked how it just took up... I like how it just kind of picked up with kind of the traditional Doctor Who kind of self-contained episode thing. I actually thought that was really refreshing.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I liked it. It may be that in retrospect, this isn't going to be an episode that I'm going to rewatch that many times, but I felt like in weeks 1 and 2, Doctor Who was trying to be a different show than it was, and now it's back to being Doctor Who, which kind of made me happy.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I thought it was important. I just because I thought that it just seemed like the whole the first 2 episodes really gave me this. Really threw a lot at the viewer and was like, here's all this stuff, try and figure it out, we dare you. And it was just kind of hard to sort through. And then you had this very straightforward Doctor Who episode, which was really, really nice. And I liked it a lot.
Yeah, me too. One of the things that I'm hearing people say about it is that there's not much in the way of the ongoing story.
Uh-huh.
But I actually kind of... I wouldn't be surprised if we heard more about alternate universes this season.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that had something to do with Amy's pregnancy, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense. That sounds pretty reasonable to me, because as it stands, the pregnancy thing's really kind of confusing for me. And I don't really know where it's going to go. And I mean, I'm interested to see where it's going to go, but they keep bringing it up like it's super important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to see what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, and they brought it up at the end of this episode for not to add anything to it, just to remind us that it was there.
Right. Right. It was very. It's like a. Yeah. But yeah, it keeps. Like, why can't they just use like a regular pregnancy test? I mean, come on. This sophisticated sciencey nonsense. It's given them mixed results.
I guess.
I think if they just use like a traditional little stick you pee on, that would solve everything.
I certainly hope she hasn't peed on the TARDIS console.
I hope that too.
Although I assume that given what the Doctor has said in this episode about the TARDIS bathrooms, like he mentioned to the Captain Avery that he has his choice of 3 bathrooms. I imagine that Amy has peed on the TARDIS. This episode is really weird. This episode of the Cloister Room, I mean. Like,
yeah,
not this episode of Doctor Who, just this.
No. We're just barely 5 minutes into this thing, and we're already
getting a little too urinary.
Yes. But yeah, no, this is very, very interesting. Like, I mean, obviously the pregnancy is supposed to be a big deal, or it's heavily meant to imply that it's a big deal, but, I don't know what we are supposed to think.
Yeah.
It's difficult not knowing what to think.
Yeah. We don't know what to think. Tell us what to think, Stephen Moffat. But one of the things I also kind of enjoyed about this story in particular was, I mean, it's sort of well documented that I don't really like Amy very much.
Right.
But that I do like Rory. Mm-hmm. So, and one of the reasons I don't like Amy is because I feel like, and I'm starting to pin this down more and more the more I think about it, but I think, like, Amy doesn't, I say often that she doesn't have a clear motivation, but part of that is, like, Amy doesn't care about anything or anyone. Like, whenever we go into a story, we'll meet these characters, and, like, Rose would care about the one-off characters. She'd feel certain ways about certain people that would affect the way she acts in the story. Whereas Amy's just sort of aloof, cracks jokes, and flirts with people.
Right.
But isn't invested in anything. So, Amy is invested only in Rory, and only occasionally in Rory. So basically, in stories where Rory is in mortal peril, I like Amy.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying about that?
No, I do. Yeah, I do get that, and I mean that does make sense. And I never really thought about it that way, but that is a good point, because and I would agree that I do think that in the past the companions do tend to be more, I don't know, like sympathetic towards other characters, and they are emotionally invested in what's going on. And yeah, that is something, I never really thought about that, but yeah, that's kind of something we don't usually see with Amy. Except with Rory.
Yeah, then, even the Doctor, to some extent, she sort of is ambivalent towards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she likes having him around and, like, doesn't want him to die and things like that. But, like, when he's around, she's like, I don't know, maybe I'm not saying anything that makes sense here.
Well, you were doing good, but,
yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, but yeah, no, and actually, I was genuinely afraid that Rory was going to die there.
I was not.
Really?
I think they've cried wolf one too many times. In terms of not just Rory dying, but everybody dying.
Well, yeah, I thought that too, but, like, see, I don't know, it's just the thing is, in the past, for pretty much every season of New Who, when they introduced a second companion, they would, like, last only a few episodes, and then they'd kick the bucket, or just decide to go live in an alternate universe, and just they would not be seen or heard from again until, like, well, maybe the finale. And that sort of happened in season 5. And so I've just been waiting. I have just been waiting for that to happen again.
Yeah, I've been kind of suspicious a little bit that I mean, they're now treating Arthur Darvill like he's one of the stars of the show.
Right.
And
I do like that.
I'm sort of starting to believe that. I hadn't believed it. I was like, yeah, they're going to have him stick around for a few episodes and they're going to dump him somewhere. But I don't know. I think they're going to keep him around. At this point, I honestly don't think I would believe them if they killed him off.
Well, that's true. I mean, like, I guess. But I mean, like, I don't know. I can't, and I don't really have a rational reason to believe this. I just can't get it out of my head that he's there. Like, I can't, like, I almost refuse to accept that he's gonna live. Like, I can't believe that he's still alive, I guess is what I'm getting at. Well, it just seems so strange to me.
Well, it is kind of strange because that's not the way the show has been for the past few years.
Right.
I mean, it's always been the Doctor and the companion and occasionally some other people.
Yeah.
So...
But I mean, I guess there's really no reason... Like, there's no reason that there's no reason that the show must dictate that. Like, there's no reason for the show to say there can only be one companion.
Well, I mean, often in the past there were more than one.
Right.
As many as 3 or 4.
Right, like in the classic series, you see it a lot. And so it just seems weird to me that I'm so used to one companion when I know full well that, you know, for the previous 7 Doctors, there were multiple companions.
Not at all times, but at many times.
Right. It just seems weird that I think that way.
That is weird, Lewis.
That is weird.
You're one weird guy.
Just one weird dude.
Yeah, says the guy who was just talking about Amy urinating on the TARDIS. Jeez. Anyhow.
So, and we saw the return of the eye patch lady.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing her in every episode.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah, yeah, that would make sense. And it somewhere deep inside me, I'm like, is Amy dreaming about all this?
I certainly hope not.
Yeah, because I would hate to find out this whole season has been a dream or some such.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it reminds me a little bit of the way Rose was used in Series 4.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know how Rose would just show up, make a cameo that didn't mean anything, and then leave? But the thing is, we knew who Rose was, and we knew why it was so strange and potentially interesting that she would be returning, whereas we just have no idea what's going on here.
Very true. And so, I'm trying to think of what she... what does she say in this episode? She says something like...
She says something, calm down, you're doing fine, I think.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. And then the first one she was saying, like, what? No, she was dreaming or something like that?
She said, I think she's only dreaming. I think that's...
Yeah. So, like, I have to... maybe I'm just overthinking this, and I want to try and make sense out of these things when I should just be waiting until we have more pieces of the puzzle, so to speak. But I really don't know what this could be.
I think it probably has something to do with childbirth.
You know, that would make sense given that the first time we saw it was leading into that room that had all the kids stuff in it. That would make sense.
And I mean, like, calm down, you're doing fine.
Yeah, that's true.
That has some kind of resonance to that.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I don't think they'd pull an, oh, it was all a dream thing, but...
They better not.
Yeah, who knows?
Man, that eye patch lady. What is up with that?
I think it was Fresned, a popular YouTuber, who, on his Tumblr account, compared her to Nina Sharp from Fringe. How mysteriously cybernetic she is. It occurred to me as well.
That's interesting.
The comparison sort of stops there.
Well, yeah.
I wonder if Eye Patch Lady's in love with Leonard Nimoy.
You never know.
Well, who isn't?
Well, I mean, yeah. But yeah.
So, I thought for the most part the episode looked pretty good.
Yeah.
A little bit, everything's in the dark, so you can't see the sets that well, but it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it felt... You know, it was funny just because I was thinking, like, hey, this is kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. And I mean, like, obviously, they're pirates, so I mean, duh. Yeah, but I mean, but it was just the sets felt very authentic, I guess. I'm saying that comparing them to the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, which is not authentic, but a movie, but it felt it felt true to Pirates of the Caribbean. So that was good.
And there is a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie coming out.
That's right.
So
maybe this was supposed to be a some kind of subliminal advertisement for it. But
could have been. I mean, they're doing everything they can to get money. Well, co-production deal with BBC America. I mean,
that's right.
Yeah. But I don't know. I do feel like there is a little bit less to say about this episode.
Yeah, I mean, well, because it's. I mean, I liked it. And it was a fun episode. I mean, like there wasn't. Because I think there's a lot you could say about the previous episodes because they were so just very different. But I mean, this was very much Doctor Who, and I thought it was very enjoyable.
I agree with that.
So yeah, I don't know how much else you can say about it.
Well, I did like the piratey character. I mean, like the Captain Avery.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of piratey characters, but he was our primary pirate.
Right.
There sort of wasn't a lot to that character, but it was done well by Hugh Bonneville, the dude from Downton Abbey.
Okay, I don't know what that is.
It's a period drama. I don't know if you would enjoy it, but I do.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I would enjoy it either, because I know virtually nothing about it.
That's a good reason not to know.
But yeah, actually, one of the things I noticed about him, though, is that he was wearing, like, gloves for most of the episode. Was there a reason for that, or did you just feel like wearing gloves?
He was cold.
There you have it. I figured there's going to be some sort of, like, suspense involved in the glove-wearing thing, like, oh, he'd take off his glove, and he had the black spot, or something.
Oh, yeah. That seems like a thing that should have happened.
Right. I thought it was building up to that, but then he just... And then, like, in one scene, he didn't have the gloves on anymore, and I was like, oh, okay. Guess we're not going in that direction.
I guess not. I think I wouldn't mind if we sort of put a moratorium on alien tech that's doing what it's supposed to do as the villain. I mean, I liked it, but I feel like we do that a bit too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that, because it's, yeah. I mean, it was great in, The Empty Child, and, every other instance of it doing that kind of thing. But I mean, yeah, I think we can stop relying on that for a villain. How about some genuine villains that actually are evil?
Like the Silence.
Like the Silence.
Although we still don't really know what they want. They may be good. I don't know.
They might be. Who knows? It could be, because they only, yeah. But then again, why did they kill Joy?
We don't know who Joy really was.
That's true. Maybe she was an evil person.
She could have been.
She could have been the evilest of people.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. We'll probably see her return. Yeah. Because this, I know we're going back to discussing last week a little bit, but the opening recap at the beginning of Day of the Moon included the Silence killing Joy.
That's right.
And I think Amy said, "Why did you kill her? She couldn't remember you." And so they reiterated that. And I'm kind of curious as to why they would have done that if it wasn't ever going to become important.
Right. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, because you think like those little recap things, they're not going to waste any time putting in things that don't matter, or at least they shouldn't. I mean, maybe they would. Maybe they would just for kicks. But
I know. I remember how when I was watching Lost, I would often feel like the recaps were spoiled the episode in some way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I guess this guy's going to turn up again. This character we haven't seen since last season is clearly going to be in this episode.
Right. Yeah, I felt that way watching Lost and watching Battlestar, because they also did the previously thing. Yeah, it seems like every show that does like a previously thing risks spoiling what the episode's going to be about when they do that. Yeah,
that's why I kind of like it when a show leaves those off of the DVDs.
Yeah.
So when I'm watching them on DVD, or makes them optional on the DVDs, like
Yeah.
I sort of went through a brief addiction to True Blood,
Oh, yeah.
where I watched all of True Blood in rapid succession, and they on the DVD they have those as a special feature if you're really interested. Although at that point I don't know why you would be.
Right. Huh. Yeah, that's because when you're marathoning through like a season DVD like that, you don't need those.
Right, and you also don't need the next time trailers, which is why the Series 5 DVD has left them out.
Okay, yeah. See, because I was... yeah, I suppose it's true. Although I feel like with the next times, they actually sort of make... If you're marathoning through them, it actually encourages you to keep going.
That is true. It does psych you up for what's coming next.
It does. And so I actually, when I was watching through Series 5 on DVD, I did kind of miss that. But that was the only reason I missed it.
Yeah, makes sense. Speaking of next time...
Oh, yeah.
Next time looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, looking at all the... back before Series 6 started, and all we had were trailers, and I was watching trailers over and over again, one of the things that I thought was especially creepy was the thing about, I've killed hundreds of Time Lords. And then the Doctor replying like, I killed them all, or something like that. I don't really remember exactly what it was. And I wasn't sure what episode that was going to be in, but apparently, or at least I think it's going to be in this episode.
I would have to assume that it is.
Which is very cool, because that seemed like kind of a big epic moment. I mean, like, obviously they're just going to throw things in the trailer that sound big and epic, but I mean, that seems to me like that's going to be a really cool thing. And I just can't wait to see it. I mean, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because of that, because, I don't know, the concept of the Doctor's wife. I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath that the Doctor's wife means exactly what it seems to mean, but I am gonna hope that it at least means something interesting.
Yes.
If not that.
Yes.
And I mean, Neil Gaiman, good writer, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that alone is an exciting thing about this episode.
So yeah, I'm completely on board.
Yeah. But yeah, it's...
Sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say more stuff about...
How awesome it's going to be.
Yes. Just more adjectives, really.
I just don't want to build it up too high in my head, because...
Yeah. That's always a risk.
But,
I mean, like, yeah, that's... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was going to say something else there, but I forgot.
It's kind of crazy that we've already seen 3 out of 7 episodes of Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's the thing that really annoys me, is that ordinarily we would be getting 13 episodes, and now we're only getting 7. I mean, like, in the spring. I mean, like, obviously we're going to get the other 6, in the fall. But I mean, it's just this. It seems like a lot less. Yeah. Well, it is a lot less, but I mean, like, it just seems. I don't know, but like, if I'm recalling correctly, the last episode in the spring will be the first half of a 2-parter. Yes,
I think, yeah, I think so. What exactly that means, I'm not sure. I mean, it could just be. I mean, what does 2-parter mean, really? Anyway,
well,
I mean, I'm sure it's going to end on a cliffhanger.
Well, yeah.
But it could be that, like, it's going to end on a cliffhanger, and the next one is going to resolve the cliffhanger, but they're going to be 2 completely different stories. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But if that's true, then this year is very heavy on 2-parters.
That's true.
Because it started with a 2-parter. It we're getting another 2-parter for weeks 5 and 6.
Uh-huh.
And then if week 7 and then week 1... of the fall season are 2-parters. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, it's yeah,
a lot of 2-parters.
Yeah, indeed. That's a lot of cliffhangers.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like that.
and then I'm sort of I'm looking at the Wikipedia page just to see the structure of the season.
Oh, yeah?
And it looks like we got the Impossible Astronaut, Day of the Moon, that's 2-parter.
Uh-huh.
Then we got the Curse of the Black Spot and the Doctor's Wife, 2 1-parters.
Yeah.
Then we have the next 2-parter, which is Rebel Flesh and the Almost People.
Almost people.
And then we have the sort of middle two-parter that ends this part of the season and begins the next part of the season, right?
Uh-huh.
And then we have two one-parters.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a two-parter.
Uh-huh.
And then, and this is the weird part, we got a one-parter, and then a one-part finale.
What?
Yeah, it looks like, looking at the Series 6 episode list, which is incomplete, on has a lot of TBAs on it.
Yeah.
The 12th episode of the season is written by Gareth Roberts and directed by Stephen Hughes, and the 13th is written by Stephen Moffat and directed by Jeremy Webb.
Interesting. Huh.
Quite interesting.
Because they would not... Because they've always done it with, like, when it's a two-parter, the first and second parts are always written by the same person.
Yeah, and directed.
Okay, yeah. So yes, that would definitely imply that those are going to be two separate episodes.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's very interesting. I wonder what that means, because like that's wow. Because we've seen sort of more than that. We've seen like in series 3 there was a 2-part finale, but the episode right before it really sort of set it up.
Yeah.
I guess you could even say the same of Turn Left. No, not really. Well, sort of.
Kind of.
But yeah, so you've never really gotten less.
Well, I kind of like the idea because
it would.
Every season so far of New Who has had pretty much the same exact shape.
Yes.
In terms of the way episodes are structured, with the slight, I think series 2 looks a little bit different, but series, correct me if I'm wrong here, but series 1, series 3, series 4, and series 5 all have one-parter, 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 two-parter, one-parter, one-parter, two-parter, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's the same structure.
Yeah, I think so.
And they usually start with one part introduction to the companion, or the new Doctor, as it were. Then one part in the future, and then a one-parter in the past, and
yeah,
and then a 2-part return of a previously appeared enemy, unless it's the Slovene, which don't count. But yeah,
true.
This is kind of a different thing they're doing this year in more ways than just splitting it up.
Right. That's very interesting. Yeah, I wonder what that means.
I think it means they're just trying new things.
Well, and you know what? Who can fault them for that?
Not me, that's who.
There you go. I mean, like, if it produces a good and interesting result, then I'm all for it.
Sure.
But I do think that the shape, if you will, of the previous seasons has worked. I think more or less.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's kind of like, I guess at this point it's kind of a safety. Like, oh well, all right, well we'll just do this, and it'll be a good season. And I mean, deviating from that might result in something really great, or maybe it'll be kind of not as good.
Well, I know one of the reasons that they've changed the way they do things is because in the experience that Stephen Moffat has had, he's noticed, or I guess everyone can notice this because this is publicly available, but viewing figures start off really high and then dip in the middle and then get higher again towards the end. Because the beginning and the end are sort of events.
Ah.
And in the middle they end up having to bring in, guest stars or whatever to sort of keep people interested in it. Mm-hmm. And they sort of... There's less middle now.
Right.
Because there are 2 beginnings and 2 endings.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's kind of just a gimmick to keep people interested.
That is a less polite way of saying it, but yeah, that is kind of what I think. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's too I don't know.
I mean, if it works, if it produces a good result, then I'm all for it. The question is just whether that can be done with this kind of a thing. And I mean, it does seem strange just dividing them up as they are, because I mean, I certainly, like, for an American show that has like 24 episodes in it, absolutely, I could think you could split it between fall and spring, and I mean, you'd have no problem doing that. But with a show that has only 13 episodes, I just feel like it's too little almost to just divide it like that. But I mean, I guess I don't know. But it does end up making like every episode count, and like you really don't get that sort of lull in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the problems that American shows sometimes run into if they try to split up like that, if you only air like 6 or 7 episodes, then you don't have that much time to build up audience investment, and so if you go away for a month or two and then come back, you don't know who's gonna care anymore.
Right.
But with Doctor Who, I don't know that that's as much of a problem, especially in the UK.
That's true. Yeah, they do love their Doctor Who.
They certainly do.
But, yeah.
Anyway, I have a question. Did you happen to see the Today Show this morning?
No.
That's a silly question, isn't it?
I'm still technically a college student.
That is true. That is true. Well, I'm an adult who has an 8:30 to 4:30 job. Yeah. But the Today Show did a thing on Doctor Who.
Really?
Yes. Meredith Vieira, one of the anchors, is going to have a cameo in, I think it's the 13th episode.
Really?
As a newsreader.
Really?
So, I mean, sort of a standard Doctor Who thing to do.
Yeah.
To have that part. I guess probably the existing American news lady probably isn't too happy about that.
I shouldn't think so.
No, but yeah, and so the way the Today Show frames it is they're doing a thing called Anchors Abroad, where like their anchors go see what TV is like in other parts of the world.
What?
I know, that seems so ridiculous, but I guess to someone who's never heard of Doctor Who, which is probably most of the Today Show audience,
yeah, probably
that doesn't sound as ridiculous as it does to American Doctor Who fans.
Yeah, I imagine that. I could see. Yeah, if you'd never heard of Doctor Who before, I could see. It's like, wow, there's this thing that people watch that isn't American. Let's go learn about it.
But yeah, she did a little a chat with Alex Kingston and one with Matt Smith in the TARDIS.
That's cool.
Matt Smith was showing her the TARDIS ketchup dispensers, and she was like, "Whoa, ketchup? Really?" It was a little bit insipid, but I don't know. It wasn't mean spirited or anything. But the thing that I mean, I didn't know about it in advance. My mother called me this morning and said, "Oh, you're going to have to watch the Today Show. They keep saying that Doctor Who is going to be talked about." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm getting ready for work. I'll turn it on." And they had what some people are calling minor spoilers for episode 13.
Okay.
I would refer to them as major spoilers for episode 13.
Really?
Well, there certainly are things that I hadn't known and would have preferred to remain a surprise if at all possible.
Uh-huh. So the point in bringing this up is to spoil me?
No, to warn you.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't told you what the spoilers are.
Right, but I figured that was the next step.
No.
Oh. Okay, then.
Is that what you think of me, Lewis? Is that what you think?
Well, kind of.
I was just just warning you that there are now major, or what I consider to be major spoilers. I like them though. Like,
you like them?
The thing. Well, I don't like being spoiled. Spoiled. I don't like being spoiled. But
Okay.
I do find what I know exciting.
Okay.
And I now feel like Eye Patch Lady in that I know something you don't know. Oh. And it makes me better than you. Friggin' Eye Patch Lady thinks she's better than us.
Yeah. What the? What is up with that? But, so now I have to avoid these Today Show spoilers for, like, what is it, like
a
5
long
months.
time.
Yeah. Like, how am I going to go to, like, YouTube or Tumblr or Twitter without being spoiled with these Today Show spoilers?
I don't know. I'm guessing probably October is when that's going to air.
How am I gonna go underground for like 5 months and like live in a bunker?
I don't know.
Like without internet, because that's the only place where internet can't reach me is in a bunker underground.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do.
I'm kind of surprised that that the BBC let this information get out.
Yeah, it seems. Well, I mean, I mean, I can't say like, wow, yeah, this is serious stuff. I mean, I don't know what it is, what the spoilers are, but like, it just seems to me like they want to keep a tight lid on all sorts of major what you consider. I mean, like, I'm going by the Tom standard of spoilers, and I'm assuming the BBC does too.
Well, they always call me, but they didn't call me about this. No, I mean, they like to keep it. They do like to keep a tight lid, and they like to sometimes open that lid, but they're very sort of judicious about when they do. This seems irresponsible, reckless. Your mother and I are very disappointed, BBC.
Huh.
Yeah.
So now that's just one thing I have to avoid. Because, like, and that's the thing is, though, I'll go on YouTube, and I will just, like, for fun, I will go and try and look up interviews of, like, the actors and stuff for just, you know, whatever they've been interviewed on TV or whatever, just to find out more about what's going on in the Doctor Who related stuff. And now I can't do that, because anytime I do, I might run into these spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, just stay away from the Today Show.
I guess so.
In fact, that's just a general good rule, I find.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Anyhow. It served me well, insofar as I don't think I've ever watched the Today Show.
Well, good job. Your mother and I are proud. Anyhow. Are we ready to put this to bed?
I think so.
Okay, so you've been listening to The Cloister Room, a podcast about Doctor Who and other things. If you have things to say to us about this podcast or anything else, then a good way to do that would be to go to www.thecloisterroom.com, where you can leave us a comment. How could they email us, Lewis, if that was their preferred way of telling us things?
Well, if they wanted to use electronic mail, they could always send an email to thecloisterroom@gmail.com.
They could.
Ah, yes.
And if there were some kind of desire to microblog at us,
well, I think
using
the most
a social networking system,
yes.
Which one would they use?
Well, they'd have to use Twitter because we're not on Facebook.
That's true.
We're just not there.
We're also not on
Friendster.
Yeah, but
is it even possible? Is that even possible to be on Friendster?
I don't know, but I was thinking more of microblogging. Google Buzz.
Google Buzz.
That's another thing we don't do.
We don't. I don't even know what Friendster is, now that I think about it.
I've only ever heard it mentioned.
I mean, I assume friends are involved somehow.
And stir.
Yeah, they got to throw in some stir for good measure.
I think in the outros to these episodes, we spend a lot more time talking about ways in which we cannot be contacted than ways in which we can.
Yeah, I mean, that really says something about us.
that we're just unreachable.
or maybe we're subliminally telling people that we don't want to be reached.
You can also text me if you have my phone number.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Darn, because I already had my phone out.
Well, I mean, anyone who's listening to this who has my phone number and wants to discuss the show should go through the official channels. I'm not going to give preferential treatment. Anyhow, we haven't said what the Twitter username is, but you will be surprised to know that it is in fact at the Cloister Room.
Yes, and I have a Twitter as well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I do. I don't actually talk about Doctor Who and other things. Well, actually, more so the other things, less about the Doctor Who, although I guess sprinkled with Doctor Who. And that's Mila's Belly. It's spelled Milesbelli, just in case you don't know Latin, which I imagine. I actually don't know Latin either. I just made a Latin username, because I'm trying so hard to be cool. Anyway.
Yeah, you are. my Twitter name is @TDickinson. That's TDICKINSON. And I'm grumpy and won't follow you back. I unfollowed 50 people today.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I went on a rampage.
Wow, it sounds serious.
It's pretty violent.
This is a bloody massacre of unfollowing.
Hey, you can also subscribe to the podcast in iTunes.
Oh, that's pretty sweet.
That's something that we don't ever say.
That's true.
I just sort of assume that that's how people are doing it.
I actually, I don't own an iPod, and I don't install iTunes on my computer, on principle.
Right.
But if you go on our website and you copy and paste the RSS feed, you can actually put it into anything. I found I could anything. I found I could put it into my Zune because I'm all cool. I mean, Zune.
You can do it in Google Reader if you want. I mean, anything that reads RSS will also take a podcast RSS feed.
Yeah, so it's not just iTunes, Tom.
Well, no, but we do have a store listing in iTunes.
Well,
which is a little different because we submitted. Yes. Anyhow. Do we have a store listing on the Zune marketplace? Because I don't think we do.
Well, no. Well, we don't.
Is there such a thing as podcast listings in the Zune marketplace?
I think there kind of is, but I don't really know how it works.
Yeah, I don't want one. Because Zune has been discontinued, hasn't it?
No, maybe.
I thought Microsoft had killed the Zune.
Listen, I don't know what propaganda, what Apple propaganda you've been reading, but I'm pretty sure the Zune is healthy and fine.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm searching on Google.
It's alive and kicking. I think it's alive. I think there's aren't they?
I heard about.
I think you read.
This is our outro to the show. Wait, no. I guess maybe I'm wrong, huh? What was it I heard that had died?
I typed in Zune dead into Google, and it came up with this article that is entitled "The Zune is Finally Dead."
Ah.
And, that could very well be something, but what is it? Oh, okay. So it says Microsoft will continue to sell existing versions of the Zune, but will not introduce new ones. So maybe that's what you're thinking of?
Isn't that enough?
Maybe. I want to believe they're still alive.
Yeah.
Well,
I know
okay.
you do.
I don't mean to toot Microsoft's horn on their behalf. But I don't think they need to introduce any new Zunes. I think the Zune they got is pretty dandy.
Oh, okay. I'm confused. It wasn't the Zune that's dead. It's Osama bin Laden. Okay, never mind. All right. Sorry. I get those two confused a lot.
Well, the Zune is just about as evil.
You want to know the sad thing?
What?
I had that joke in mind, but I was thinking, who can I say recently died that I thought it was the Zune? I'm like, what celebrity deaths have happened recently? And I mean, the first person that came to mind was Liz Sladen, and that would be in poor taste.
Yeah,
so then I actually Wikipedia deaths in 2011, and then I'm like, oh yeah, Osama bin Laden. Completely forgot about that guy.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, this is by far the longest outro we've ever done.
Yeah, the episode officially ended 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, so if you're still listening, then
We're sorry.
Yeah, we're so sorry.
We are so. I mean, why? Why would you do this to yourself, listener?
Why would we do this to them? This is all on us, mostly me. Anyhow,
Oh goodness.
until next week, I've been Tom.
I've been Lewis.
Goodbye.
Good luck.